Have you ever had this problem where you just can't seem to find anything you want because your shulker box and your chests are just completely disorganized? Well, my Alpha Squad, welcome back to Redstone Revolution. Do I have the solution for you? We have an storage system with an item sorter. We have a dropper with a dropper depleter, and we also have a shulker box unloader. I'll show you how to build everything, but first let me just show you how it works. Let's say in our system we want to sort all the different kinds of wood like I wanted to with the spawn build, and you have a shulker box full of wood. What are you supposed to do? All you need to do is, you can see the chests already have wood in them. I'll just take them out so you can see that the sorting system actually works. I'll even the wood in my inventory. I'll just place them into this chest. Everything feeds into the dropper. The dropper gets emptied out. Everything shoots up, flows to where they're supposed to be. And since we don't have anything that is considered, say, junk, like this smooth stone slab, if you put that in, it flows up, it flows through and falls out on the other side into the junk chest. Not that smooth stone slabs are junk, but still, in this case it is. So for the shulker box with exactly the same wood content as that, all you need to do is just go over here to the shulker box unloader, place down your shulker box and let it empty out. As you can see, the items are flowing through the hopper chain, and I'll be right back after everything has unloaded. And I'm back. As you can see, the shulker box is almost empty, and as soon as it's emptied out, you'll see what happens. Don't worry, the shulker box will not go into the system and to the junk chest. You'll get it back immediately. The shulker box is broken, but it didn't go through. I'll explain everything in due time. Just waiting for the dropper to finish its thing. Watching the items shoot up and flow out could make an interesting screensaver if you added a little flair to the system. And all the items have been sorted into their respective chests. Now, the how to build section of this video. So first off, obviously the item sorter. What you're going to want to do is, as you can see, the dubs are in a snake-like pattern because we want to make sure everything that's get placed into the dubs filters down to the bottom chest, no matter how much stuff you have. Let's say all the dubs are full. You're not going to want to climb up to the top dub if you emptied out the bottom one. What's the point in that? So you build the snake chain, then as soon as you start emptying out the bottom chest, this top one will filter down into the bottom, and you'll always just need to go to the bottom chest and keep that in your base so it looks much neater. Now, for the hopper system, you technically don't need this row of hoppers, but let's just keep them in for now. For the flow of items, it's pretty simple. You have a water stream, all source blocks with a soul sand at the bottom to make a bubble column to shoot all the items up here You need the slab to prevent them from shooting out of the system. You have your glass walls to prevent them from falling on the sides. And then just with the water, they flow over the top of the hoppers, and if it's the item that needs to go in, obviously it will fall into that hopper. You have a row of 6 hoppers because water only flows that far. You could have 7 potentially, but I like to stick to 6 hoppers in a row. You have packed or blue ice to make sure you don't break the flow of the items, as items flow quite nicely on top of ice. You place down your slab here to make sure the source block the water you place down here doesn't flow backwards, and then obviously over here just to stop the water from flowing, and all the junk items just fall down into the junk chest. Now, how it works. In the top hopper, you have an item you never plan on using, or if you want to build an item sorter that stores every single item, all you need to do is rename all these items in an anvil and place them in these slots. Then in this slot you need 41 of the item you want to filter into that system. It varies depending on stack amount, because obviously ender pearls will have a different amount since they only stack up to 16 and so forth. Single slot items do not work in the item sorter. They'll all end up in the junk chest, as you cannot stack them at all. So how this works is you have a nice J shape right here, well, backwards J. Then you close it up. You have your comparator, 3 redstone dusts, a repeater, and a redstone torch. What this redstone torch does is it locks the hopper in front of it, preventing any items from going through. The top one tells the comparator how much items are in there, and if the signal strength is strong enough, it won't feed over to this one, but if the signal strength is strong enough, it unlocks the hopper beneath this one and lets the items flow through. And obviously that will only happen if the correct items are in the hopper. So all you need to do is place down your hopper, comparator next to the hopper. Make sure when you place down the hopper, the bottom part faces outwards and not directly into the hopper below it, as that will break the system. Next, we have the dropper depleter. So all we need is a little X shape. So if you're building up in the air, either way, if you're building on the ground, all you need to do is you place down your comparator, a stone next to it with redstone dust on top, redstone dust below it, the 2 stones on top, stone next. It doesn't have to be stone, I just like to work with stone. Then you need a repeater and redstone dust flowing into the comparator. So how this works is the comparator senses there's something inside the dropper. It sends a signal through, which sends it back into the comparator, it sends it back into the comparator to lessen the strength of the signal so that it doesn't keep sending a signal through even though if there's nothing inside. So what happens is, as soon as something's in the dropper, let's say a smooth stone slab, it senses it, sends it through and lets the dropper deplete. So the dropper will always empty out using this system right here. Then for the shulker box, the shulker depleter, all you need is you need to place your hopper. Then where your shulker box is going to be, you place your comparator, a repeater facing that way, 2 redstone dust, a repeater facing the other way, and then next to the stone you place your redstone torch. This redstone torch locks the hopper and prevents the shulker box from falling in once the shulker box is empty. So this circuit right here, what happens is as soon as the shulker box has something in it, the comparator is turned on, and this little wire back here just turns off the redstone torch, unlocking the hopper and then emptying out the shulker box. So what happens is, now for the part which breaks the shulker box after it's empty, this observer sees the state of this change once the shulker box is placed down and that turns on. It sends a signal, and this line is shorter. Signal comes out here first, but there's nothing here, so it's ignored. But what it does is, the one it sends back here is a single tick pulse. So this sticky piston will release the stone block next to that normal piston. Then, when the shulker box is empty, this will turn off, the state will change again, the observer will notice that, send a signal through. Now, since the stone block is over here, the signal can go into something, it will power the block, which powers the piston, and it breaks the shulker box. And then after that, the signal will go through to the sticky piston, which will retract the stone over here. So let's just place down a shulker box that has a few items in it. So I have a little chest down there just to show that the system works. You place down your shulker box, it empties out, the hopper gets locked, and you get your empty shulker box back. As simple as that. So all you need to do is make sure this piston is facing the comparator, this piston is facing this piston, so this one can sense what happens to this observer. Sorry, I called it a comparator. It's an observer. Then this observer sees what that one's doing, this observer sees what that one is doing, and then these two observers sees what sends the chain through. Same thing, last observer and sticky piston. So if I have a little more items in the shulker box, I can actually show you what happens. So if you place that down, see, single tick pulse, the sticky piston releases the block over here. But now, as you see, this redstone line is on and the torch is off, which unlocks the hopper, and that was actually quite fast. So, and as soon as it's empty, the stone gets retracted, shulker box is empty now. Should have been on the other side. It doesn't usually shoot back, but it's because I removed this block. So it locks up again and prevents the shulker box from falling into the hopper and into the system. All you need to do is to link up the system. You just build it next to your current system, because you can still keep the chest, because you're not always going to have to sort out a shulker box. Just create a hopper train from this hopper feeding into the dropper over to the system. The redstone torch does not lock the hopper below it, it only locks the hopper next to it. So that hopper will always, so these hoppers will always feed the items through. Okay, maybe it did lock the hopper. Wait. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, either way the hoppers get locked and the shulker box can't fall in the system. So that is the item sorter, the dropper depleter, and the shulker unloader. That's it for this episode of Redstone Revolution, my Alpha Squad. And if you're not part of the Alpha Squad yet, subscribe, become a part of the Alpha Squad, and we can have fun together. If you guys want to see other devices built with redstone, just leave suggestions in the comments. If you liked the video, don't forget to leave a like, and I'll see you guys next week.